Hello, and welcome to the Star-Crossed Seaway Afterparty. So you may be familiar with some of the people here, but you might be looking at me and being like, you're not one of the flying Flynn Pirates. And that is correct. But I am here being the voice of the audience as a fan of the show to ask questions and get involved. And I brought a fancy cocktail with me, so I feel that's all you need to be a flying Flynn Pirate, really. But I feel like that's the qualification, you know.
You're an honorary flying Flynn Pirate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes. Excellent. That was the thing I was hoping for. Kurt is on their way, so they will be joining us for the next hour or so. We will just be hanging out here, chatting about the show, going through favorite moments, and just generally talking about the campaign. And this is something I do with my own games personally when a campaign comes to an end with the players. So I thought it would be fun to do here as well, and to include you folks as the audience as well, because you are all kind of flying Flynn Pirates as well, and members of the Board the Sea Letter. So if you do have any questions or favorite moments, please put them in the chat and join in. So we've got some awesome people and some names I recognize here from people that have been watching throughout the whole 2 seasons, which was fantastic. Thank you for all the support and coming on and watching, because I loved coming and watching it, and I think these fine folks enjoyed playing as well. But yeah, so I don't really know how to start. Where do I start? How is everyone feeling after the finale last week?
Exhausted. I cried way
Sad.
too much. Yeah,
incredibly emotionally sad.
I can't stop thinking about, oh my god, I'm so excited. Oh.
Aww.
Saddest Tuesday of all time is right now, actually.
Yeah. I feel like I woke up, turned on my character sheet. I was like, all right, and I went, yeah. Rick.
I spent some time moving like a bunch of documents on my computer around Sunday because I was off from work. So I was moving stuff I don't use anymore. So I had to move my Elizabeth character sheet into like my TTRPG character archive folder. It was sad. It was really sad.
I did joke before we came on that I sometimes call these sessions like the wake, which this is now already feeling like it's getting those vibes, which is great. Let's all just sit here and, just cry for an hour or so. And,
last week.
I did that last week. Yeah, 100%. I mean, people are already roasting Took in the comments about that. So,
as they should.
Yes, Took and nobody else, right?
I request more Took-based jokes from the chat.
You know what?
I would absolutely love that. I'm completely here from it.
Hey, first off, I have the best on-screen cry. Okay, I brung real tears.
Can you cry? Can you cry on cue, or did you have to like build up for that? Or
hold on, let me think about it. Valar getting divorced.
Divorced
Valar.
And then back together.
Maybe.
Sort of.
Ish,
Never gonna find out.
There's that one point where we were all like, is Valar gonna go with Vivian? What?
Oh, I was
Viva.
Viva. It was close.
Viva.
And that was more so Took about to pop out of Valar's body because I freaking love that character. I don't know why y'all gave her so much slack. She deserved it. I will admit she was slimy, but
the slimiest slime ball of all time that we then traded for profit to end the entire series.
She tried to steal our money.
Yeah. In a very slimy way.
She's a pirate. Of course she did.
is there no honor amongst thieves, though?
No.
Is there no honor amongst? No, I was like, no, not in this universe.
Mia doesn't think so.
Well, fair enough. As we've already started roasting Took, because that's how we started, Shall we kick off and have a look at some of my edit of some of my favorite bits of Took in this series?
Yes.
So
I'm
none of the cast have seen any of these. I got a little delirious and overworked and stayed up till about 2 a.m. yesterday making some of them.
God.
So I don't know how much sense they're going to make today, but at the time I was like, this is great. So let's have a look.
I am playing Valar Inspiration. He is a herald, which I am super excited to be playing.
And Valar has been half dead for. This will be the third episode where Valar has been half dead.
The second long rest, you are finally unfatigued from dying.
After all this time, even though this wasn't my chosen occupation, I trust you, Captain, full-heartedly, and I trust your decisions, even though sometimes they may be incompetent or reckless.
Just make sure this is in her best interest. Valar, when I say this, I need you to take this the most seriously. Do whatever it takes to get her to do this. I do not care what you have to do.
That leads me to a question.
Do it. Whatever it is, do it.
Yes, your wife would be very angry.
Yeah,
Here's the wife that served divorce papers. No.
Also, it's dirty. And you just hear.
You index the space rock. That's a sentence I want forever.
He smells of a lot of cleaner solutions.
Let me show you, Valar. I'm sorry, I had to borrow this. You're the person I trusted to have the cleanest sheets and the whitest sheets for the plan I was pulling off. But, and then I cast Prestidigitation, and I would like to cast it and not only clean it, but add the 90s commercial trill.
When the arcane explosion happened,
So then is this?
After a moment, the woman's voice speaks in your head and describes herself as Winifred Jane, goddess of cleaning.
Huh. What? Yes! Oh, this is everything I wanted. But he does grab like a plush blanket that he made, and he takes it and he just kind of places it on you.
I always said my 3 officers would sail as captains someday. Today is that day for you.
This is a wonderful moment. Don't you go.
The first division commander of the Flying Flynn Pirates.
I will rename it.
Valar, what about the clean getaway?
Oh, that's good.
And
That was
and that was Took as Valar. So I want to say from Ian Publishing and my perspective, Took, thank you so much for creating that character. So for the Afterparty, I'll say cheers to you, to Took. It has been great having you being one of the Flying Flynn Pirates. To Took.
To the best first mate.
I try.
This character was so precious. Before I cast the show, I was looking around for stuff, and I loved in your other streams and on your TikTok the amount of energy and fun you had in your characters, and also how your characters were kind of quirky and a bit weird. So I was like, oh, that could be interesting. And I love how in this campaign you're like, so his thing is cleaning. He really likes to clean stuff. And it was like, okay, fine, okay. this is it. And there were so many gifts. I didn't get the chance to edit them all in because I'd run out of time, but I loved all the gift making things.
I also love how fast you were able to make them in game. Like I was never gonna say anything, but I was like, what? That's not how that.
I'm sorry, you knit a whole sweater in 2 days?
Yeah, like that's never
How did we
happened.
get our measurements?
While we were sailing? How did you do that? Where does one find the time?
He had high charisma and high dex, so I was like, I think he could do this. and if Sarah was like, no, not possible, I would have been like, okay, like I was okay with anything.
No way I couldn't without being intensely pedantic, but like I knit, like I'm knitting right now, and I was like, it doesn't take so much longer.
I don't knit in real life, so I didn't know. So I just was basing it on like, little... I was basing it on like
with
I
honey
was basing
and
it on like how long we had like downtime, and so I was just like, oh, I think a sweater could be done in that many days, and this is also me being very inexperienced in that. But that is fun to me.
I know there's stuff I totally missed out on there. Like I didn't get a honeycomb clip in there afterwards. I realized as well.
Oh man.
But so guys, I need you to jump in now and tell me what I missed and say other kind of took moments and certain things like that.
I mean, everything about the divorce and the reconnection and then giving Viva a massage, a full body massage.
I didn't say full body.
Slipping that in casually for no reason. Like, that was a detail Valar did not need to share with everybody, but did so. And it was like, okay, Valor, didn't need to know that, but I'm glad that I know what you can make her do now, I guess.
I just wanted a full montage of every time Took went shoot
yeah,
the hand for Valar. Anytime, just like chasing somebody around, and then you would always do this hand motion of like this, like whenever you're running after anybody, it was always like, and then I run after them.
Had to put the real work out.
Yeah. I loved how like robotic it made Valar seem, but I just imagine like the most perfect, like meticulous running form ever.
It felt like Ida from My Hero Academia. If you're familiar,
yes, exactly, 100%.
How he holds his hands in the anime, just like chunk, 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 chunk.
Even when he like goes to say something to somebody, he's always like, I'm the class rep. He's just always got one hand like this, and so did Valar.
Yes, exactly.
What was your kind of like inspiration or idea when you were making Valor? So did it go in the direction you thought, or did it go somewhere else?
I've been having the opportunity to make so many freaking characters because of like my job and like what I chose to do with my life. So around the time I was making Valor, I was also making like 5 other characters for different shows and my own stuff. So I was like, how can I make him different? We had just went shopping and I had just stocked up on all of my cleaning stuff. And so I was like, hand sanitizer? No, that's weird. I can't make a character off of hand. Yes, I can. And then I saw Harold, and then I saw like a whole bunch of the stuff that they had. So I was like, does cleaning and nature go hand in hand? I hope so. Here we go. So I started writing them, and I was like, all right, this is what it is. And I usually don't officially personalize the character's personality until I play. So when I introduced the cleaning stuff and I saw everyone's reaction, I was like, yep, I'm doing that. And then everyone else helped me create them. It was a group effort. It wasn't just me. In my opinion, anyway.
So thanks to the cleaning products that those made. We've also had a Kurt just arrive, so I'm going to welcome them onto the stream now. Hey!
Hello. Hi!
The gang's all here.
The gang's all here. We've just been roasting Took Is that a good
Nothing.
summary of? That's pretty much all that's happened and all that you've missed.
Excellent.
So we've just been going through some favorite moments and going back through bits and pieces, and in the chat they're saying some things as well. They're saying like their favorite moments is when Took got back. You know, was that the character, not you, because they're different. But yeah, so that kind of comes in there. But yeah, so Kurt, I don't know if you have any favorite kind of Took Valor moments. They're the same in my mind.
No, I mean, I totally agree. I think that was the one that I picked too, was Valor getting his memory back and us learning about the cleaning god and like all of that. I think, I don't know, my favorite Valor moments, and here's the thing, my favorite Valor moments are the moments of Valor that took by surprise. And like seeing Took's reaction to how Valor was growing as a character was just beautiful.
I would agree with that. That was why I was like honeycomb, because of the just losing his mind about that character.
I am just kicking myself. I didn't have a honeycomb clip in that little thing there. I'll probably put those video mashups on YouTube as well, all of them afterwards. So if you folks want to have them, you can have them there. And if and also Kurt can watch Tooks as well, so you can see so that bit there.
Awesome.
But if we are ready, would someone else like to see their best bits? And who is up next? That sounded provocative. I meant the clip video of the campaign.
I'll do it. I'd like
It's
to.
not.
Yes.
Okay, so next up, so we have our captain, the captain of the Flying Flynn Pirates. Before the campaign started, I think it was you that said, yes, let's definitely 100% do pirates.
Yeah.
I love pirates.
You're
And so I went, okay, it's pirates then. And so this is kind of largely your fault.
Yeah,
I'm most excited about
love,
pirates too.
I love pirates so much. So the second that was even floated out there, I was like absolutely, we don't have to do anything else. It could literally just be a show about us just being on a ship being pirates, which it kind of was, and I was so thrilled. I love pirates so much. I cannot stress that enough. It's my favorite type of anything. I love pirates.
Amazing. Well, let's have a look at the Pirate King's best moments then.
I am playing the captain of the Sea Lettuce. The Sea Lettuce is a martial, extravagant, and unnecessarily large captain's hat with a big feather. Renegade, I will duel you if that's really what it takes. I mean, but I believe Brother Horace's research is right now the best chance we have to take down the most vile, corrupt, evil organization in the archipelago. My entire life has been dedicated to destroying the fiduciary order. I would like all of us to join together just this one time to take down the fiduciary order, get rich, rob them blind, and then go back to our wonderful life as pirates. She's a pirate captain. She's everything that I think anyone would want a pirate captain to be. Like, well-known information for anybody on the crew that I hate her and that we are enemies. Bitter enemies. Like, if there is a crew on the sea that I refuse to negotiate with almost under any circumstances, it is hers.
So you guys were like Creole.
What are you asking me, Apple Stock?
K-I-S-S-I-N-G, sitting in a boat tree.
I said we're arch enemies.
But how would you feel if something real bad happened to her?
Oh, I'd feel so good.
No, you have a family, and she's like punching that like staff of the axe into your chest. You had a family, you ran out, and that wasn't good enough to use. You had to take mine too.
You were my family.
I, Captain Valar Inspiration, Herald of Wither Jane, shall call the beginning of this marriage.
My earliest memories are of a girl I called my friend. Now I continue to sail all these years later, and now I have many. But that girl is still my best friend. That girl is you, Sophia. And I have gotten to create a family with Valar and Lewin and Trilly. And now I get to share that family with you. And I am the luckiest pirate captain at sea because of it.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Kiss.
That
The cutest thing ever.
that almost got me. That almost got me. I started to tear up like real hard through that whole thing.
Same. Almost got me too. What?
That was my crafty plan. I was watching because in the people in the chat, I can see everyone in the little windows underneath whilst the video's on the main screen. And I was like, is she crying? Is she? It looks like she might be crying.
I'm gonna cry about it later.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Like in private, like in a healthy way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as we're doing now, so watch the best bit. So if we get our glasses to say a toast to Captain Flynn, everything you'd want a pirate captain to be.
Kurt, you're koozie. Oh my god.
Captain Flynn.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
I think one of my favorite things was the fight with Sophia. And me like saying, "Oh, you were my family, stupid," and then Kurt just walking back in immediately after that while we all lose our minds. Really impeccable for everything about Lewin. The entire thing. The timing just off by this much.
I remember that, and my dog was downstairs like losing his mind, and I was like, I gotta shut him up.
It was difficult to edit that because there were things like that happening, and there were so many moments that could have been between Elizabeth and Sophia, like as nice, like coming back together moments. But I chose that one just because afterwards the whole cast went, "Ah!" and I just thought that looks nice in the edit because it's like a family moment. But yeah, but again, I have missed so much out because I only had a couple of minutes because the videos will only let me download so much megabytes. Otherwise, that'll be like half an hour. Because there's like 48 hours of footage, by the way, if people weren't aware. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So to get a few minutes of that is a task. But yeah, what did I miss? What are the best Captain Flynn moments?
Crabs.
Okay. I would not say those are the best moments. Those are probably the worst. The worst possible moments ever was Captain Flynn versus any kind of crustacean.
So I am personally a fan of any time we try to hug Captain Flynn, and she was like, "Nah," and then we hugged her anyway, and she was like, "Okay, this is cute. This is fine." Just gave in immediately.
I wish I could show you my notebook because I literally have other ideas for edits, and one of them was hugging moments, but I ran out of time. And I was going to do a montage of her just being like, no. And the other one was of Ro rolling terribly because there could have been a great montage of that being like, damn it! Yeah, so, but that I didn't have time.
The 3 back-to-back nat ones
That was brutal.
right after Kurt had to leave at like the intermission, and then I just literally could not filter myself. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is absurd.
It was absurd.
The amount of new dice that I bought for this campaign, and they never worked. It was never good.
What can you do? Yeah, the opening up to the crew, there are so many of those speeches and moments as well, which have made it into here and into some other people's ones, you may notice as well, because they're all the very good hit you in the feels kind of moments. But yeah, so yeah, clearly the chat likes it when we open up and be emotionally vulnerable as well, Captain Flynn.
Yeah, Elizabeth did not enjoy it. So like when I made Elizabeth, I had absolutely no idea what I was gonna do. I was like, I love pirates, and we were all talking about what everyone's gonna do, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be the pirate captain, sure. In our Discord chat, I'm like, yeah, I can be the captain. I love that idea. I think the class that I chose is perfect for that. And then I played the class completely wrong. Not really, but I should have played it differently if I didn't want to keep dying to crabs.
We were kind of squishy about it.
Yeah. Didn't help that I rolled terribly on my hit points every time. Elizabeth seems just statistically awful, but truly great. Like when I made her, like I picked her name because I was like, what is the most like pirate captain from any history book ever sounding name? And I'm like, oh, Captain Elizabeth Flynn. That's literally like something you would pull right off of a page. That's perfect. And then I was trying so hard to just not make her that kind of pirate. Like I didn't want her to be like a Blackbeard, this harrowing, terrible figure. I didn't want her to be, Captain Kidd and this absolute just lunatic of a captain. I was like, I don't know what I want her to be. And then I opened my mouth during the first session and it was like, oh, okay, great. When I was talking to Sarah and I picked like my character Destiny when I was making the character, and it was the Dominion Destiny. Shout out to Level Up A5E for the Destiny stuff. It's great. It's cool.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'll just build my character around that. Yeah, I had parents who were merchants when I was a kid. I sailed with them. The fiduciary order came in, took them out of business. They gave up. They went to go be like farmers or something. I don't know. I never really cared what the parents were actually doing. They were never going to be a big part of Elizabeth's story as much as it was, hey, you took something from me and I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to get you back for it. Elizabeth versus this big corporate entity almost. And I was like, oh, so she's going to be like super focused on revenge and like this will be her whole story. Like she'll probably be this like super tough and mean and awful captain that everybody hates because she'll do anything for revenge. And then I met the other 3 characters session 1, and it was like, oh, that's not at all what this is going to be. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be great. This is great. We'll be the worst pirates ever.
You're just like a hardworking single mom vibe I got, who just like had all these adopted children.
A single mom who works
who loves her kids.
It's really funny because Valar's like, oh, you 3 characters remind me of what Valar's like kids or grandkids are supposed to be, but really Elizabeth was taking care of 3 toddlers who all wanted something different at the same time.
Give me bleach! No!
Yeah, Valar was the kid who played with the cleaning products that they weren't supposed to. Applestock was the one who drew on the walls in
Yep.
crayon and permanent marker. And Lewin was the one who just wanted to read his book, but the other two kept making him go outside. And then when he was outside, they'd, pick on him, throw rocks at him, and then they'd go steal his books.
He was
I will
easily
say
led.
The tables did turn later on, though, because then Lewin and Applestock teamed up to then bully Valar every time he wanted to clean.
Yeah, it was like, oh, hey, we're like the two younger siblings.
Yeah.
We can just team up on the older one and drive them bananas. It was great. I loved it. I loved all of it.
I loved our exasperated Captain Mom.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, everybody, this is like serious. We're about to go into battle with this with this pirate captain. Hey, we're going to go like fight my ex to the death. This is kind of important. Hey, we just like basically declared war on the biggest like shipping organization in the world or something. Like, why are we painting on each other right now? This is what are we doing? It was great. It was great.
It was great to watch. But yeah, I don't know if there's any other kind of moments I missed or bits and pieces people wanna talk on about Elizabeth Flynn, or if we're ready to pick someone else to talk about.
I have a moment I'd like to bring up. Going back to the very first episode of season 1, and I think it was one of my favorite moments because it set the tone so perfectly for why Elizabeth was the captain, and it was the first environmental encounter when we had to cross that slippery rock surface.
Your little baby.
It really,
all 3 of us went first and just biffed it.
Yeah.
I think this was meant to be the really simple exploration challenge, like
It was
cross the
introducing
river.
mechanic. These will be a thing. Here you go. Introduce the exploration challenge mechanic. Fail, fail, fail.
I think about that exact moment, I just really enjoyed saying, hey, okay, which one of you 3 is going to go first? Oh, you. Oh, and now they failed, now you go. Oh, you failed, and now you go. And then they all failed. It's like, well, I guess if you want to get something done, you got to do it yourself. And then I just did it so easily. It's like they were all laying there, and I just walked across them. One moment for Elizabeth that I really enjoyed actually has to do with Lewin. Just all through season 1, every time something about Lewin and Bob, I remember it was Lewin talking about being Baphomet's son and like kind of struggling with that. And I was like, oh yeah, so your dad who didn't want you. We're gonna go ask your dad who didn't want you for his help. Great. He didn't even want to pay your rent. Like the constant roasting of Lewin for having parents who didn't want him. Every time I like went to say it out loud as Elizabeth, like seriously, I couldn't stop myself from laughing just in the middle of it. It was so funny.
Please tell me that clips of that.
Shout out to Kurt and for Lewin for being a good sport about it.
I just Lewin was so I tried to play him so pretentious and snotty and uppity, and I love how the thing he got roasted for was his parents not wanting him. There were so many opportunities to roast Lewin.
Lewin was the most roastable character in the entire show, and
until Valar got his divorce papers served, I think that might have turned the tables a little.
Oh, yeah. How the turntable!
Oh, your wife, who you left and then begged for her back, who then still did you.
Look, I didn't leave on purpose, though. That's the point. It was not my fault. Complete shush.
Did you say you left her because she was a criminal?
You left a little bit on purpose.
And then you killed the prince and then became a pirate?
Well, okay, so the way I wrote it is that literally a day after he decided that he was going to leave her because she was not telling him the truth for 100 years, the whole thing with the prince happens like immediately after. So yes, I guess it does seem like that. Okay, no, it wasn't like that. But that's besides the point.
From my perspective, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I will say before we move on, one thing: if everybody in my head is like a montage, if Valar's is like metal hand and then like freaking out about how cute Honey was, it for Captain Elizabeth Flynn, it's just a montage of her going, "We never lose," and then immediately getting downed by a crab. Just every other clip is just
That only happened twice.
the fact that it only happened twice says something.
I was only downed by the crabs one time, I'm pretty sure. I was only downed like one, maybe two times in the entire campaign. No, I got really close a lot.
Yeah.
I had at least one hit point. I only had to make death saves the one time.
This is true, but I'm pretty sure you got downed in the fight versus Sophia. You got downed in the last battle, and I'm pretty sure you got downed by crabs at some point.
I think you were downed by crabs twice.
You got grappled a lot as well.
I did get grappled literally every time I tried to fight anything important, except for in the fight with Sophia. And I got downed after that one was kind of over because Applestock chose not to fire on the Necromancer immediately, and then the Necromancer killed me. And then Applestock was like, "Oh, you know what? Let me just fire this arrow real quick." It was great.
But here's the thing: it's always that clip in my head of you getting downed by a crab or something is always followed by "We never lose," because we didn't technically ever lose.
We didn't. We never lost.
So
we never lost.
Is, how big were the crabs? By the way, like I never asked that. Were they large?
They were big. They were like
pretty big.
I think
they were like dog sized.
So yeah, dog sized.
And then in the second season, they were like horse sized, weren't they?
Yeah, those were big.
It's not like I've lost to a little crab.
Yeah, because in my hand,
it's like tiny, this,
and it will grab your toe and go. You was like, oh my god! I was like,
awful. I hate crabs. I hate it.
Never eat crabs again.
No. Next time first time I DM for Sarah, there's gonna be a big old crab.
You know what?
I'm gonna get my payback. Yeah, I'm gonna get my payback. Don't you worry.
It instantly grapples you.
I can't treat movement.
And there we go. Well, who do we put the spotlight on? Oh, someone's also said fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Could we talk about this for a little bit before we move on, actually?
The wedding dress? I think I started sketching it because I didn't want to forget what it looked like. And it's super light. You can't actually see it. But
I based it around what I kind of want my actual wedding dress to look like when me and my fiance eventually get married, a million years from now. Because I've thought about my wedding dress a lot. And for Elizabeth, I got to live like fashion-wise vicariously through her a lot. Once I got that glamour breastplate, which just kind of let me change my outfit at will. I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna use this for fit checks constantly.
As you should, as I was hoping you would when I gave you that item.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be incredible. My fiance did art of the dress that I described for when we went to convince Brother Horace to turn
Brother Horace
order, because he's obsessed with me and fashion. So I didn't get to grow up raised like socialized as a woman. So I came out as trans I think I had just turned like 19, maybe 20. It was like 6 years. It's only been like 6 years. So I didn't get to have those like pivotal moments growing up where you'd get to wear like the fancy dress. So like my entire adulthood at this point since coming out has been spent atoning for that. I bought myself the strawberry dress for that exact reason.
Yes.
Like a year and a half ago. And now anytime I get a TTRPG character, it's like, oh, how can I just amp up their fit check? And it was great. Like and ahead of the final battle, I was like, yeah, Elizabeth is like practically mourning Sophia just in case, is like in all black, like her revenge outfit. But I kind of attribute that to the show I had begun watching roughly around that time. Thanks to Sarah, Pirate Show. It was great. It was great. I loved Elizabeth's outfits. That was so fun for me.
I thought you might have fun. I was like, magic breastplate. Oh, glamour breastplate. Like,
hey, if you're a DM, give your players any opportunity to run fit checks. Please.
Oh yeah.
It's so great, so lovely. Do it.
Well, if you want to check out the art, I think it's on your Twitter page, isn't it?
Yeah, I should. It's buried under like 2 million tweets, but it's on there somewhere. I'll just tweet it again. I haven't saved it.
There we go. So if you at Call Me Caulfield, which is spelled out on the screen, I don't know if you want to spell it out.
CAULFIELD. Call Me Caulfield.
We've had this banner function the whole time, but it just wasn't used.
I never noticed it until the last episode. That's on me.
No worries. Okay. I think it's time to move on. Let's spotlight. We'll go for another character for now. So Gabby and Kurt, I don't know if you want to rock paper scissors for it or.
Didn't we discover that rock, paper, scissors was really bad on here?
It was difficult.
Yes.
It was difficult.
Yeah,
we could roll for it.
Mm.
I don't
There we go.
Nice. I'm at the beach right now.
I can roll for you.
Lewin in the chat. So
Lewin in the chat. Okay. So it's Lewin, Aubrey, Baphomet.
Morgan Baphomet.
Morgan Baphomet.
Morgan
It's
Baphomet.
such a long name. What a lamb.
It spells lamb.
I know. I love that in the last episode. Someone was like, wait. I also did not notice that either, in fairness.
It was after the series. It was like after the campaign ended. We were like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, hang on.
Right. Okay. So let's have a look at my 2 a.m. version of Lewin.
I will be playing Lewin, Aubrey, Morgan, Baphomet. He's not necessarily here by choice. He was abducted by the pirate crew here and held for a ransom that his family was unwilling to pay for. Oh, right. See, where I come from, it's always the same time of day. This whole time of day thing is I forget which is which sometimes. You'll have to forgive me. I have the ability to speak telepathically now. So I'm going to say, if I can distort my telepathic voice, I'm going to say, "Hello, Valor."
Valor the eyes will widen. He's like,
"Yes, it is me, the spirit that resides within your hammer."
He dropped the hammer on the ground.
You don't know anything about sailing, do you?
No, because he gets seasick very easily. So he's chewing on Adderwort root. Father Baphomet, the demon lord of Minotaurs, obviously. Captain Elizabeth very much reminds me of my family, and not in the good way.
What you mean?
I don't think she likes me very much. We will be your heralds if you tell us what we need you.
Lewin will be your herald.
I will be your I just me alone? Okay.
Lewin,
Yes, Captain.
I
I wanted to let you know I'm incredibly proud of you. Your efforts were instrumental to everything going the way that it did. You captured Viva, who would have taken us for everything we had and thrown our entire endeavor amiss. It would have ruined everything we worked for, and we would have potentially died for nothing. You stopped that. You did that. And that's truly incredible. When we first met, I never thought you would have been capable of that. I thought you were some snobby God's child who I was surely just going to get a quick ransom for and never have to deal with again. And I am so glad that that is not how that happened.
Lewin, here's something about family. You don't owe me nothing.
You have made me a better person knowing you.
It was so freaking sweet. Sorry.
So cute. Oh my god, what a good bean.
Lewin's character arc was my favorite.
It was so
So
sweet.
sweet.
Dude, the complimenting and the roasting at the same time kills me every single time. It was so hard to go, oh, and
Absolutely. That's what I was trying to capture in that, is that from the beginning, just being like, I don't know what I'm doing or if I should be here, to at the end actually becoming a bit of a badass, and then being, you know, saving the whole ship and everything like that. So, you know, as we do, I think we'll raise a glass to Lewin. Cheers to you.
Oh, Lewin.
I feel bad like toasting with this mug because it just says
I noticed.
so I'm like, I swear that's not how I feel about all of these characters. I
It
love
feels
that.
in character, so it's fine.
That's why I chose the mug. It felt like it was the only appropriate one.
Exactly. But I obviously missed so much, so let's kind of talk about our favorite Lewin moments.
How about every moment where Lewin won with the command spell on Renegade Thorn, commanding him to kneel during the duel. That was,
Yes.
I literally didn't think about it until right this very second. That was probably one of my favorite moments in all of season 2, period. It was awesome. And then when Lewin, as we were heading to Alden's refuge, ripping his horn off and then an antler growing out, I'm like, oh man, that's so metal. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lewin had some like particularly just incredibly badass moments throughout, especially throughout season 2. Like you saw Lewin getting a little bit of confidence, a little bit of swagger, and then all of a sudden Lewin's like, kneel. And it was great. It was fantastic.
So Lewin, the character, followed a very similar path as Kurt did playing the character. Whereas in like season 1, obviously I had very different spells. I had Baphomet as like Lewin's patron. So he was very much like fireball kind of stuff. And then at the end of season 1, when that opportunity to atone or become a follower of the Dear Vourer came about, I had to do it. Like as soon as that was like in eye shot, I was like, oh, I gotta go for it. And then once that opportunity came up and I started looking at the different spell lists for having a new patron, and I asked Sarah, like, hey, do you mind if I like switch my spells around because of this? And then like, yeah, at the very beginning of season 2 being like, oh, this kind of works now. And then I was like, as I was like, okay, yeah, like these spells really work. This is really cool. Like Lewin, the character, became much more like you said, kind of confident and sure of himself. And I think that also like worked well because at season 2, like the crew had been traveling much more together. Like there was much more, I think, familiarity, and where in season 1, I think focused on the path from like how Lewin became kind of this outcast to a part of it, and now season 2 kind of picked up where we've been traveling for a little while longer together.
Yeah, I felt like Lewin kind of got the least character development in season 1 because he was just trying so hard to like fit in. So I knew that for season 2, I really wanted to give you some like opportunities to really shine, and boy, did you run away with them. It was much. It was, and I'm so pleased that was able to happen, because obviously we got a ton from Captain Flynn in season 1. We got a good amount from Valar with the memories and the Skyrock and like all that. We got some like Apple stock moments, but I feel like we never saw Lewin blossom in season 1. And so getting the chance to see that in season 2 actually made for this delightful character arc that I really, really enjoyed.
I also love the prankster you became with Applestock, because they kind of adopted you and were like, we're doing this together now. And you were like, great, I'm in. And just always, yeah.
Someone wants me to do something with them? Okay.
It was exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, absolutely, we're gonna be best friends. What do you mean? You feel left out of things. I feel left out of things. Let's do this. Like, it was just, I don't know. And, like, it's just really interesting kind of, like, looking back and watching a lot of the episodes. Because for, like, Lewin's little montage in my head, it was always like, and I think it's, like, just, like, your whole character arc of just going, like, wait a second. This actually isn't a good thing. Like, in my notes, I have Lewin's revelation at season 1, episode 5 of, wait, which started off as being roasted by Captain Flynn, but then turned into this moment of, wait a second, people, my parents aren't good people. Wait, hold on.
Lewin, you know your dad's evil, right? What? What do you mean?
What?
That's a terrible. Like, your dad is terrible. You understand that, don't you?
No.
Because it started off as a roast of Valar, and then it somehow got turned to Lewin, and then it almost got. It was just like the captain going like bang, 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 roasted.
I did that a lot. I did that quite a few times.
You did it so much, but the fact that it almost always pushed people into their character development, like their character arc, it's fascinating, especially with Lewin just going like, oh no. It was the moment that I was just like, oh, poor Lewin. Oh, you sweet little, oh no.
There was also a moment I didn't quite get to edit down in, and it was with Harold. And Lewin was going, but Harold is my very best, oldest and dearest friend. And Afstock was trying to be nice, like, yeah, but they're not very nice to you. Do you remember in the fight they pooped in your eye? I don't feel friends should do that. And I really wanted to edit it in, but it was like a 15-minute conversation, and I couldn't edit it down to why Applestock was randomly saying friends don't poop in your eye, and I was like, I can't make this edit work in isolation. That was great as well. Harold was wonderful.
Freaking loved Harold in both renditions. Yeah. He was my favorite, dude.
Then you were like, it told Harold like that you were like in charge and actually you didn't need his services anymore. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think that was that same episode after they told Lewin, hey, your family's terrible. I have a habit in like my characters in general where I start them off as like the spark of the character is almost always some kind of a joke, and in this it was someone from like the lower planes who doesn't know how the material plane works, and also his parents don't want him. Those were the two jokes, right? And then I always like to like take those because those are fun for me to play, and then see like how far you can kind of push that type of character. And I love that like we got to go on that journey, and I love that like especially with how the other 3 characters on the crew were, I think it was just like a perfect balance to take Lewin on that character arc. So it was a lot of fun.
So fun.
I really appreciated in the second season that I got to have a few more like one-on-one conversations with each character as Elizabeth, which, you know, didn't really do much of in season 1. It was more like, hey, we're all doing this as a group. And then there were a lot of moments where it's like, oh, Valar and Applestock are talking to these fishermen, and oh, hey, Lewin needs to go deal with the goat's head. I'm gonna go with Lewin. I really enjoyed Elizabeth's one-on-one moments with Lewin in season 2, like talking while Valar and Applestock were, you know, harassing these fishermen and ruining their lives. And it's like, hey, Lewin, you doing okay? I think and Lewin going like, I think I'd rather go back to the standing here comfortably silent, because Lewin didn't want to answer the question, hey, man, are you doing all right?
It's a good moment.
Because Lewin was like, the end is nigh. Like, that's actually a thing. And I'm like, do you want to talk about it? No, I don't. And then telling Lewin that I was proud of him in the final few episodes. Awesome, great moments. Lewin's growth truly immaculate in season 2. Delicious, just a delicious character arc. Fantastic.
Since we're in the after party, can we talk about something that never came to be, but I talked with Took and Sarah about?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I was plotting, right? So
let me get my drink.
And then originally, like after a couple episodes into the season, after like the plan was kind of hatched, and I saw like I just sort of like called it off because it just like didn't fit the character and where things were going and progressing. But early on, before season 2 aired, and we were kind of talking with Sarah about like how characters were going, one of the ideas that I talked about playing around with was like Lewin being corrupted a little bit by this newfound power that he's getting and all of these like followers. And the plan that I had concocted, I think if we ever got a season 3, or if we were to have gone longer, maybe this would have played out. But Lewin was going to try to undermine Valor in like really subtle ways and like socially position himself closer to Elizabeth to usurp the first mate position.
Wow.
That's so
That
funny because I made you the quartermaster and Valor was
hey.
Yeah, and when you did that, I was like, oh yes.
I was too. So I was like, they talked to me, and I was like, aha, here we go. Come on.
So
get their rings off. We were about to fight.
Smooth it over so nicely, and I was like, what?
like I know traditionally the quartermaster would kind of be the first mate, you know, but it just on Elizabeth's ship, that's not how it works. It's like it doesn't matter what position you hold because it doesn't. Because Valor just made so much more sense as the bosun, the person who's fixing and cleaning and maintaining the ship constantly. That just and then way after that happened, a few weeks later, I watching this pirate show. I'm like, oh man, I basically told Lewin in real pirate terms that Lewin's the new first mate, just
a little bit
without telling Valar about it. And then Valar found out, and Valar running to me. It's like a kid tattling on the older brother. Like, I'm gonna tell mom. So funny. I would have loved to see Lewin undermine Valar, though. I would have loved to see that play out so much.
So catty, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
it would have been an argument. Like that would have been the one thing that would have ticked him off. There was not a lot of stuff that ticked Valar off. That would have been one.
Would have loved to see it.
That's great. I love that concept as an idea. That's awesome. Yeah, if people have ideas for stuff, for like other stuff and things like that, this is definitely the ideal place to kind of share that. But I may move us on to another one of the Flying Flynn Pirates, to the shortest, because everyone else is like over 6 foot tall. Yeah. To our little friend that we found in a barrel all those months ago.
Applestock just hiding in the background. A little bit of a tan gnome just sitting there with them. They're just kind of like moving around, shifting because things have been a little bit cramped after being in a box for so long. But upon hearing a axe hit the ground, Applestock just kind of goes.
Applestock's a pirate.
Who?
TT.
I'm Applestock. It's me.
TT is a pirate.
Oh yeah, Applestock. Yeah. No, TT's just a nickname that we used to call them.
Of course, we were immediately met with, basically a thieves guild that Applestock used to run with, and that they didn't tell us about. And
Nobody asked. Well, I was about to prank Cled real bad, or try to at least.
Oh yeah, no, people come out and Cled comes out and yep, hat and coat and boots, which are really, really not the right size for him.
And as soon as Cled comes out, Applestock is gonna jump from the crow's nest and use her ring to sprout those dragonfly wings and go, introducing the one, the only Captain Flynn, our trusted leader on the Sea Cucumber, the Flying Flynn Pirates, Captain Flynn, and then just slowly float down.
Cled's looking around like, I thought everybody was doing this.
Applestock will pull out 2 daggers and stab it into the bags and just like slit it open, and then just jump from there.
But still pointing my arrow at my explosive arrow at the rope and say, all right now, I swear, if you do not let go of my captain right here, right now, I will blow up this whole kit and caboodle and take us all out.
Anything is possible as long as you have the imagination of a kraken. She thinks of all the things in their life, specifically the times that people have said, like, oh, you're not really good enough, all of the passive aggressiveness, and then thinks about what's new and different with this new crew. Of everything they have said is genuine and wonderful and so kind, and how much they believe.
Not the dab at the end.
yes, there was. I was like immediately going right there. So that was my kind of view of Applestock. Obviously, I've missed loads of stuff out that we'll talk about. But first of all, because it's the after party, we'll say cheers to Applestock, aka Trilly Toscopple.
Wow, what a wild character.
Yes. I remember when you first messaged me with it, you're like, so her name's Applestock, also this, but we won't talk about that. And I was like, okay. And I hadn't had any of the backstory details. That was just it. And I was like, okay.
I was like, this is where we're going to start.
But we already have some other favorite moments, which I didn't put in the edit, which didn't make it in, which was you falling head over heels in love for Clover.
Immediately.
This person you just picked up on the beach.
This person that fell into my trap, I was like, yes, this is the one I choose to love.
They fell for the trap that you set, and then you subsequently end up pulling the prank on Lewin, like in the middle of come out of Clover's room, and you're like, cover now, and it's so good. It was so good.
That was like my own little prank of like, I know everyone's gonna flip if I describe, because like Lewin was specifically like, I go to Applestock's room and I was like, oh, Trilly doesn't have a room. Always described as sleeping in the crow's nest. But what if they were in a room? And then I was like, okay, this is like my own personal prank of everybody being like, wait, what? This relationship is skyrocketing. But in actuality, I personally always thought of that moment of being like, oh no, they're still just friends. Of course, they're still getting to know each other. But the first thing Applestock or Trilly would teach somebody that is becoming their friend would be how to prank somebody. So that was my like little like, ooh, is this? No, it's not. It's not. But it will be one day a full blown relationship. But
it felt like an initiation after that point.
Yeah.
Like you have to clean with Valar, you have to read with Lewin, and you have to prank with Applestock, or you're not a part of the crew.
And of course, Elizabeth has to threaten to throw you overboard.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that. You always threaten everybody.
Old Greg.
Old Greg just died. Oh wait, no, that was Mark.
Mark
like
died, yeah.
Mark literally got cannonballed.
I don't know about y'all, but I think it was definitely implied old Greg did get thrown overboard.
No, yeah. No, Elizabeth definitely did some very pirate things prior to the start of season 1. It's like I may have picked up a bunch of misfits. I also threw a bunch of them overboard, just in open sea.
I love that every time Captain Elizabeth was like, "Our Applestock, I'm throwing you overboard," and Applestock was like, "No, you're not. You love me." And I was like, "Oh my god."
Applestock's just open defiance of everything Elizabeth said to them, just start to finish, was so good. So good. And then Valor just being like, I'm going to chase you around the ship because that's just going to happen now, I guess.
Well, for like, I at first I was kind of worried whenever I was like pretty openly defiant against the captain. It was like, because I immediately was like, oh, underdog, because whenever I make a character, it's like a little piece of me and something I relate to. So like being the youngest sibling of a big family myself, I was kind of like, oh, I've always kind of felt like a little bit of the underdog. I have all these people I have to live up to, look up to. And so with Trilly, it was almost like, at first I was worried of like, oh, being openly defiant to a captain seems against that destiny. But at the same time, I was like, but what really matters is, does Trilly believe that? Is it more of a, oh, I'm better than you, so I'm going to be defiant, or is it more of a, I'm using this as a defense mechanism to kind of like defend themselves, and especially entering into a new place that has a kind of similar like system of power as to the one that she literally had just come from. So yeah, and I think that actually that initial defiance was kind of like a connection between the two of them, of being like, oh, wait, we're kind of similar. I don't like your sass, but I appreciate it. You know? But yeah, that little part of me really just, like, again, I was like, here's the initial concept, and then it really just like, it just ran. I just let that little part of myself kind of run, and then Trilly became very unhinged very quickly.
I have a question, because I've been wondering this the whole freaking time with the freaking name reveal. Threw me off really bad. Was her name always Trilly? Like, did you have that from the beginning?
It was always Trilly Toscobble. And I was sitting there in the first episode, literally described to be in a box that says Applestock on it. Pop out, and I was ready to be immediately called out for it, of being like, oh, my name's Applestock? And you guys were like, okay, cool, awesome. And I was like, oh, I didn't think I'd get this far. In fact, the other thing that I thought was going to get me was immediately, at one point, I think I mentioned in character, I was like, yeah, I got 9 siblings. And it's a known thing in TTRPGs that if you announce a certain number of something, anything, specifically NPCs or people, they're gonna ask you what their names are. So I was so ready. I literally had a list of names that was Millie Tilly, Lily Billy, Shilly Dilly, Philly Hilly, Gilly, but sometimes Jilly. I have had that for as long as I have had my backstory created. In preparation, you guys go, oh, you have 9 siblings? What are their names? And so the initial plan I had was, oh, I'm gonna say all of those names, and somebody's gonna be like, and your name is Applestock? And that's that I announced my name. But nobody asked. So I sat with that, all of those names.
We trusted you.
And
which is why, of course, we had to go see families.
Yes.
We had to introduce all those siblings.
I love that you memorized that, dude.
You know, for Elizabeth, it's not that Elizabeth was like, oh, I totally believe that your name is Applestock. I don't think Elizabeth cared ever. It's like, you're going to say whatever your name is. I know you're lying to me. Everyone on this ship lies to me all the time. Like, I'm going to end up throwing you overboard if you just bother me enough. Like, it's fine. Let's just move on. You're not important enough for me to care about. And then, then it got to a point where I think for pride's sake, it's like, I can't ask for the truth now. I'm just gonna wait for it to come up. And then you bring up your family, and Elizabeth's like, I don't care about any of your pasts. Like we're pirates. Our pasts don't matter. And then they all ended up mattering, including mine. And it was like, well, oh, you're TT. Okay, well there it is. There's the catalyst for your name not being what your name is.
I love the way that did get brought up of somebody from their past being like, oh, here's a nickname, and it being like, I've been lying to these people. It made it even worse because I was like, oh no, I've been really lying to these people the whole time. And nobody has asked.
In my head, I thought because you was like Applestock, and then you mentioned you had 9 siblings. Uh-oh. Did I go? Oh, okay.
Here. I think Robin.
Oh, right, it was right. Oh, okay. I was like, is it me? Oh no. But when you said Applestock and then you said you had 9 siblings, in my head I was like, okay, blueberry, strawberry. Like I started naming off other fruits in my head. And I was like,
think people would assume that all of the siblings were fruit related, but I do love that.
That's what I thought. I thought the whole time. I was coming up and I was so excited. And then when you went Millie, Trilly, Tilly, Jilly, Philly, I was like, hold up. But then I was like, would Valar ask or care? And I was like, well, no, he'll accept her for who she is. He doesn't care. But also at the same time, he was being very nosy, like, what's your name?
See, I run too many games myself to do that to someone. To be like, oh, 9? Name all of them. I've been on the receiving end of that too many times.
I was ready. I was so ready. And then you guys all took me by surprise of either not caring or just assuming that they're fruit related or just being too polite. That's actually very fitting for everybody's character. I don't care enough to know. No, I think I know what's going on, and I'm just gonna sit and not say anything, just gonna accept it and move on. The social graces take over.
I'll also say you got me with the name thing. Like, I didn't ask about it because I just thought it was a cute little, oh, you had talked to Sarah about showing up in the, oh yeah, wouldn't it be cute if Applestock showed up in the Applestock? That's a funny little joke. And I accepted that as the truth, and that's just where we went. Right? But I am so happy that it took that long for the name to be revealed because you couldn't have done it better.
Honestly, me too.
That was amazing. I constantly, every time something came up about any of your characters that seemed like important background information, I had to ask, Robin was always super interested in it, but I had to ask myself, would Elizabeth care at all about this? And the answer was almost always no, she wouldn't. That's who Elizabeth, she does not care. Like, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you did, we're friends now, that's cool, fine, like, let's go kill this thing, or like rob this ship, or destroy the fiduciary order, casual, easy things to do on any day of the week. But it was like, I don't care what your name is, I don't care about the names of your siblings, I don't care that your wife is serving you divorce papers.
Oh my god.
It's funny.
Oh yeah, no. If it was something that Elizabeth could use against any of your characters at any given moment, it was she cared. She cared so much, especially Apple stock. It was so fun to just get like one thing, and it's like, oh, I can just hold this over Apple stock's head forever. And then Robin, could not. Once we got the name reveal, it's like it's been too long. I can't go back. It's gonna be one or the other, just kind of when it comes up.
Can I just say though, one of the things that really got me, and I was surprised by my own, this has happened to me so much with like people in my own life, but the moment that Captain Flynn was like, "Hey, where you guys going? What y'all doing?" And I whenever Applestock and Clover were first hanging out, there's something inside of me like 14-year-old Gabby would came out and was like, "Stop talking." Hang out with this person.
I loved every second of that. That was gold. That was like the greatest payoff of the campaign for Elizabeth and Applestock's relationship. I loved it. I loved every second of it.
It was so good, but afterwards I was like, man, I have some inner things that I'm holding on to of embarrassing moments.
You don't need therapy, just do an RPG.
That's just your 20s. You gotta deal with all the embarrassing things you did when you were a teenager.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it was just revenge for the
absolutely
moment, which was one of my favorite moments of the whole campaign, because it just came back and was like,
yeah.
And I like that it stayed in and came back later as well, which is great as well. Exactly, who needs therapy when there are TTRPGs? It's cheaper. But yeah, I don't know if we have any more Applestock moments that we want to bring up in the moment now.
In the chat, they slayed at combat.
Oh, Applestock in combat was great. Except for that one time against the Necromancer. That was like, come on, what are you doing? Why are you holding back now of all times?
That was bad luck, but that was the first time I ever played a rogue, so that was exciting.
I do love rogues in Level Up as well. I played one briefly and it was fantastic. So that's my favorite ones there.
You terrorized me.
I didn't do anything.
Yes, you did.
We all terrorized you. Come on, and we could have been so much.
Everybody's character. Because lesson learned for everyone out there playing Level Up: start at 1, 2, or 3. It's easier to do because it is called level up. You're supposed to level up. Do not start off at level 12, or you get a druid with 80 million spells, a warlock that can change time quite literally if she really wanted to, and a rogue that can talk the pants off an apple. Just don't.
It was so fun because at level 12, if you build your druid as the skin changer druid or something in Level Up, by the way, you can just have a designated wild shape, just whichever one you want, that you can just stay in. You can enter it at will, one time a day, and you can sleep in that form. You can long rest in that form, and it doesn't take up one of your wild shape slots. Level 12 druids are the best. If I play a Level Up game again anytime soon, which I do very much hope I will, I'm gonna play a druid. And if I run one, I hope someone plays a druid, because I will build enemies against them, specifically the druids. But I do have one thing that me and Sarah talked about loosely after episode 7 of season 2, because I'm like, oh, Elizabeth is straight up gonna die. Like, I was ready for Elizabeth to die in the final episode. I'm like, oh, this is it. Elizabeth is done. Like, this is over. And Sarah like messaged me after the end of the episode and was like, hey, so here's this idea that I had for if anybody dies, but obviously Elizabeth was the only one in like true danger at the moment. Sarah was like, what if it's like a Davy Jones undead thing because of all of your, like, almost like a reward from the Dear Devourer for us bringing them back into the world. It was like, what if you're just immediately raised from the dead as this undead pirate captain? And we didn't discuss it much further than that, because I imagine it would have come up if I had actually died.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, that would have been so cool, because like I would just sail at sea for all eternity. Like, it would obviously have created problems between Elizabeth and Sophia.
Yeah.
Because, Sophia would still be very much alive, and it would have changed the end of the series for Elizabeth completely. And if it would have happened to any of you, I imagine it would have changed all of your ends to the series as well. That would have been messy. And there's a small part of me that wishes that did happen. Like, oh, but like, what if there was like a what if scenario where it was like, if Elizabeth died in that final battle, here's what the rest of her life would be, and then whatever. But yeah, Sarah had a lot of little secrets and plans that will never see the light of day because we just did something different.
Yep.
Well, maybe we could talk about those a little bit, because we've had some people asking. So we talked about all the characters, but obviously the architect of the mayhem is sat right here, digitally next to me, of the narrator for this series. So I didn't want Sarah to be left out. So I did make a little video for the narrator as well, which we'll have a watch about now.
Hello and welcome to the Star-Crossed Seaway, the inaugural, as far as I know, the only level up 5th edition actual play stream. And I am Sarah, and I will be your narrator for our lovely campaign. Fulfillment happened, and now I have my books. Okay, I think I have done the thing. Double check. I've done the thing. Okay, heroes found a stowaway. We have found a fallen star, or fallen something. As you look at it, its antlers burst into flame, and its eyes are very intelligent and completely uncaring. It's a god of life in the same way that, like, invasive species and cancer is life.
So you don't have a partner?
No.
You don't have a pet of any kind?
Well, I make friends with the spider monkeys.
Oh my god, that's so cute. I'm sorry. Who? Stop breaking me, Sarah. Jeez. Okay.
But that didn't change that I really, really wanted to be wanted by someone. And I wanted that person to be you. And she looks over at the ants. I'm ready to trust that. No. I want you to be. I was hoping the vows would make it in because I totally forgot until about they happened that I was going to have to actually have wedding vows.
Of course. Well, I think
I was so prepared.
I know, and I was so unprepared. It's like, oh crap, weddings have vows. Oh gosh.
I like that
I think-
Elizabeth was the one who's prepared, and Sophia wasn't.
No, Sophia was like running after. Took like I need a
Yeah.
my prisoner clothes. I need something else to wear. Please help me.
You did way better than I would have. I may or may not would have gotten it off a movie. Like Googled it. Like
Just took that. I'm just a girl standing in front of a pirate,
Pirates.
asking them to love her. But seriously, from EM Publishing, I want to say a huge thank you to Sarah for running this campaign, doing all the work to make it happen, hosting and running the shows. I was so excited when because I got in touch first with Mike and I was like, hey, do any of our level up designers like run games? Who could I contact about that? And he was like, yeah, these people. And I contacted Sarah and she was like, yes, immediately, yes, I can do this. How are we doing this? And I was like, perfect. So I want to say a really big thank you, and I'm sure all the cast do as well. So, but first I'll start being cheers. Here's to Sarah, a fantastic narrator. Cheers.
Cheers.
To the one who made the ships sail.
That's a good one.
Quite
The one
literally.
that killed us with crabs.
Oh my
Never killed us with crabs. Let's be perfectly clear. No one died to any crabs in the making of this production.
Although there were ample opportunities.
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, no attention to the boyfriend behind the curtain.
shout out to the boyfriend.
Hello.
My serious boyfriend.
So I'm a big fan of like NPCs, and I was not kidding when I said that. I fall in love with NPCs very quickly, especially when they're written really well. Freaking Namdi! Oh my god, I loved him, dude. Oh, because he reminded a lot of me, and if I was on a pirate ship, and how embarrassed I would be to like try and like go on a date while also being a pirate with another pirate.
With a very sweet and genteel tiefling who's just polar opposite.
Don't know how she ended up on our crew, by the way. There's
Oh yeah, I was about to say, like, did you have like a little story of how everyone like got onto Elizabeth's pirate ship?
Not everyone. Some people I left it deliberately ambiguous, but everyone who had a name had a little bit of a something going on. Like I think that Bach was probably the most like traditional like pirate. Like I'm big, I'm buff, and I like guns. There is a natural job thing. I think Glitter Mall was, or Golden Mall was
Glitter Mall.
Guns heinous, and we're running away from it somewhere no dwarf would ever follow. Boats being the natural extension. Cled was just deeply awkward, and anywhere that he found some semblance of community, he was going to stay and not necessarily pick up on the cues that maybe things weren't as
I like to imagine for Cled that like Cled was like working like at a dock or something, like loading some boxes onto our ship one day and like got locked in like the cargo hold or something at some point because the people he worked with didn't want him to come back, and then we set sail and then it was like, well, I guess we need a cook. Can you cook? And Cled was like, yes, I can. Even though maybe Cled couldn't cook at first, who knows?
Probably not.
That was my headcanon for Cled. Like Cled just kind of, like everybody else, ended up on the ship because someone didn't want them somewhere else, and Elizabeth was like, "Whatever, I need the bodies. I can't afford to hire people, so it's fine. Like if you want to be here for free." And just kind of share what we end up getting. Great.
Yeah. Segura was a noble who's had grown up like very pampered and privileged and hated every minute of it. So she didn't really have the skills to be a pirate, but it meant not having to be a noble lady all the time. So She was into that. Whereas Namdi was like literally like the son of fishermen who was like, I cannot spend the rest of my life in this tiny like town. I have to leave.
The greatest love
Like they
story.
have backstories.
The greatest love story ever. A noble who didn't want to be a stuck-up noble anymore, and a fisherman who was poor. Oh!
And we love it. We love it. Absolutely. I'm not kidding when I say that I have like 500 words of like a little bit of romance. I'm struggling with like weaving their romance as the plot around like an actual plot that is very much they are not the protagonists of.
I knew that.
But it is very cute. Yeah, Viva was really, really fun.
I hated her.
She was so
I loved her so much because I would make her as a DM because I freaking love the will you trust will they trust you, will they not trust you, will I steal from you, will I not steal from you, will I kill you, will I not kill you.
Yeah.
Love those characters.
Yeah, I love that as a DM too, but as a player, I hate it.
Emotional intelligence 10. Ability to trust and form meaningful connections 0.
Oh yeah, no.
Absolutely ferocious. Was absolutely basically a courtesan who realized she was going to eventually be too old to really be living the lifestyle she was used to and decided that was a terrible way to live. I'm going to go be a pirate. Like, she was fun, but did not set her up for... She cared about her crew a great deal. But given the choice between her crew and herself, it's herself all the time, and she'd want them to do the same. She'd expect that. So Captain Flynn, thinking anything else, was like, what? Like, you're playing by different rules. Like, you're not playing by the rules of the world. Very confusing for her.
Good.
Good.
Good. Anything that made Viva's life worse, good. And I hope Elizabeth was just that.
I think you did make her life worse. I think that definitely was the case.
Oh yeah. And good on us for it, honestly.
Yeah. I love that Cled saved you at the end.
And I knew I wanted him because he's so awkward. But his heart is in the right place, kind of.
Kind of. Okay.
Who cares? He's just
Robin love Cled. Elizabeth probably never addressed what Cled did. Just kind of like maybe stopped turning her head in the other direction every time Applestock would prank Cled moving forward. It would be like, hey, just maybe go prank Valar instead. Valar's ship is right over there. You can literally just paint something nefarious on the side of it.
No,
and would give Applestock a better idea. It's like, hey, go write about Valar's wife on the side of a ship. Go change the name to whatever Valar's wife is. It's great.
No, I think Applestock after especially whenever it was mentioned that Clyde and Millie were getting really close, truly was like, okay, I'll ease up. I won't anymore. Because towards the end, I think a lot of the pranks, if there were pranks, were focused on everybody else. But I did love Clyde as kind of a little bit of a, I'm going to prank you.
Yes. This whole character was socially awkward fall guy. That's what's in my notes. That's it.
Socially awkward fall guy.
Another NPC I really liked was I really enjoyed Harold. Applestock could care less for Harold, but I really liked Harold. I thought he was a funny guy.
He was fun. He was really fun to play.
Oh, dude, Harold's my favorite. Oh
no!
Internet went bad again.
Speaking of Harold, shout out to Sarah,
dude,
because in the episode that I got rid of Harold, not only without telling her or giving her any kind of heads up, was like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to summon another familiar. This one's a pseudo dragon. By the way, what's its name, Sarah? And just like without skipping a beat, Sarah had the character, she had the name, like just flawless. So just, and there was moments like that, I think, sprinkled throughout the campaign where like we would just throw something hair schemed at Sarah and
Oh yeah.
whoop, okay,
No.
let's go.
Honeycomb was the same way. I was just like, oh yeah, this is because I completely forgot about it until we started the episode, and I was reading my abilities. I would read everything to make sure I was up to date with it before we started, to make sure that like I got it. And then I read that, oh, I can get a familiar. Oh yeah, I can get a familiar. By the way, here's a bush. And Sir was like, I was like, oh my god, it's so cute. Every familiar was amazing.
Sarah did an unbelievable job.
Yes.
And I think the thing that Sarah, the DM, did best. I loved all the NPCs, of course. But it was really awesome because every week after every episode, we'd do our stars and wishes, and Sarah would be like, hey, what did you love about this week? And what do you want more of? Or what do you want to see? Like, what's important to you moving forward? And Sarah was like super great about it. Sarah gave us everything that we wanted and everything that we could have possibly asked for. And we got to just kind of have a great time while Sarah did all the heavy lifting, all the hard work. And it's great as someone who DMs for a million people all the time to not have to do it and to see someone else have to do it, and then to be like, hey, what if you let me roll this with advantage, or what if you let me add an expertise die here, or what if you let me use this feat for this thing that I definitely shouldn't be able to use it for? Why don't you let me break the rules just a little bit?
And then it's a stream.
I loved it. Sarah, you did such a great job. I had so much fun. This game was incredible. I love all four of you very much. It was fantastic. It was great. I'm gonna miss it so much. And it's all thanks to you, Sarah. So, and EM Publishing, but it's all thanks to you, Sarah, for the actual content for 3 hours a week.
To Jess for putting us in the same digital space. Like,
yes.
We didn't
Yes.
know each other.
Yes. I mean, I just cast it. I just convinced Russ to let me do an actual play stream, and he was like, yeah, immediately, yes, let's do it. And I was like, great, let me get some people I like off the internet and put them on a digital space together and see if it works. And luckily it did.
I have a question for Jess, actually.
Okay.
I have a big question. When it came to picking us, right? Did you literally just pick the people that you just liked? Like, because that's what it felt like. We were friends, and you just went, "You want to play in the game with everybody else?" And I was just like, "All right, dude." Like, it was immediate trust, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this immediately.
You thought it was a scam when I first contacted you, didn't you?
100%. No. I was starting to have a financial advisor who is still with me, and he helps me out with everything. So I was like, is this legit? Because he legit went to law school, and he was like, oh no, this is straight up legit, and they seem cool. And then we like researched everyone else, and then because I didn't know Kurt's real name. And so we looked up Kurt, and it was like Mr. Kurt. I was like, oh my god. And it was like Gabby. So Gabby, I was like, oh, watch all these people. This isn't real. And then when we got to Sarah, and then we found out Sarah had like legit like PhD stuff, and like she went to school for this, and like she was a writer this, and I was like, oh my god, I don't belong here.
And she like was a designer for the level up system that we're playing and everything. Yeah.
I was in shock majority of the time, and then when we all got to talk, I was like, oh, we're all just nerds. This is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be good.
I don't think I'd ever had any sort of interaction with Jess, like, really at all.
No, I'd not spoken to you, but I like followed you and knew who you were. Like that makes you sound like a creep.
My thing is, the only person that I knew going into this was Sarah, because me and Sarah have been like Twitter mutuals for years.
Yeah,
and just
people I followed on Twitter,
and never had like a long conversation about anything. We just like would interact on tweets occasionally,
like very rarely.
And then I get this message from you, Jess. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I got nothing going on Tuesdays. Like I can just have. I got nothing going on in my life at all right now because I wasn't really working or anything. So I'm like, I got a bunch of free time. Why not? Sure. And then I'm like, oh, this is like an actual thing, huh? And once I like obviously agreed to it and then did more work, like more of my own research into it, I'm like, oh, this is like pretty legit. That's really cool. But yeah, no, like I maybe also followed you, Jess, but the Twitter algorithm's awful. So I had no idea who you were. You just messaged me. I'm like, it said, hey, do you want to be part of this? I'm like, I've never done anything significant to warrant being asked to do this, but sure, I'd love to. I read.
That's a lie.
You were like a TTRPG writer, someone I knew in this space that was like a nice, safe person, because that was one of the things as well. Because I don't want to invite on the stream, and then you had on your bio that you did actual play stuff as well. I was like, oh, cool, she does this stuff too. I'm looking for people.
Shout out to my media kit.
Yeah, your media kit worked because I was literally just researching people I knew or followed, and then was having a look about different cool people to kind of have on, but it luckily worked out really well. So thank you so much for making it so awesome. It was really great. It was only going to be one season, but we had to make it into two. But so
watchers,
but it was
players.
Yeah, but it was fantastic. Thank you all so much for making it so amazing and so great. It's been really great. I think this was like the first actual play I knew about of Level Up, but now there's lots more kind of out there.
Really exciting.
We have had a question about, is there a possibility for another actual plays from Ian in the future? And the answer is yes. So we won't be doing a campaign this year. We'll be doing some campaigns next year. But we will be doing one-shots that we do every month wherever you're watching this. And I have a collection of people on Discord channel that we do casting from. And these fine folks have all been invited to join that. So you may see their faces there again. Turk has already run a one-shot for us for the Awfully Cheerful Engine.
Oh, dude, I love
So
that system. It's so fun.
So we may be doing that again. Maybe we can have a little cast reunion for that sometime or something. But if you are this year wanting to watch more Level Up actual plays, you can go to a place on the internet, which is called Level Up 5e site /watch, and that is where we have all of our shows and the sponsorships. So we have 3 sponsorships for the next quarter. We've got one which is a podcast. If you prefer podcasts, they're running through Memories of Holdenshire by Afterparty. We have Wish You Were Here by Table Quests, which is running every Saturday starting October 15th. And then we also have Dawn of Vengalia by Tales of Initiative starting this weekend, which I believe is also in that one as well, because he runs around the internet being in Level Up games. That's
apparently
this is like your third Level Up stream
it's
now.
Took's new thing.
Yeah, no, I pitched that to him immediately. He was like, I'm looking for notes. I was like, Level Up! He was like, okay. And I was like, yeah.
But you can check that if you go to level5e.com/watch. You can see the actual plays we sponsored there, and we will be sponsoring more streams in 2023. So if you are running your own Level Up 5th edition campaign, we have details on there, and we'll open applications for the new year up soon as well. So yes, so there'll be details of that there. And if you want to keep up to date with what we're doing with Level Up, if you go to levelup5e.com, there is like a follow thing, so you can follow on there, and there's like a newsletter so you can be up to date. So if we are doing castings or things like that, we'll let you know. But generally, I'm quite selective with the campaigns and like to kind of pick people that I stalk on the internet.
like me.
Yes. Well, that's what I do with everyone. These are all people I just like followed or stalked a bit, and then was like, yes, these people would be a good balance and a mix.
Well, I'm glad you stalked all 5 of us on the internet.
Great.
Thanks for stalking us.
A toast to Jess for putting all of this together.
Yes.
including the after party.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I just wanted to fan out with you all for a while and say thank you for the show. And we can trust Sarah's friends for casting Shan.
I'm supposed to be DMing right now, and they're cyberbullying me in the chat about it.
I see. Well, in that case, let's.
10:30. You'll be fine.
We get to keep Sarah for a little bit longer. It's our turn with the DM.
Let's start to wrap it up a little bit. So, you folks are all doing cool stuff after the campaign, so let's have a little talk about that. Starting with, and I'll go around in this direction, looping round. So, Sarah, what's going on with you?
Honestly, what's going on with me is I'm preparing for comps because I am also getting a PhD around this. So that's the big thing, which is so boring and unexciting. But I have a lot of layout gigs coming out. I do layout, and I also do. I do run games. This is my part-time job on top of all the other things that I'm doing. And I really would love to run more games, particularly for like groups that like have a specific idea, or honestly, if you work in like a white collar job and they're like, hey, we'd love to do like something staff development. We don't want to do like a high ropes course, or like we just don't want to do like an escape room. We want to do something different. I have an idea. So that's what I am doing. But mostly I'm doing a PhD. So follow me on Twitter, but I'm not that exciting until December.
So if you work for a corporation and want to trauma bond your employees, you can hire Sarah.
Yeah. Another story, and then we'll talk about it.
Gabby.
Hello.
What are you doing?
I'm doing not much right now because my schedule is very busy outside of life. But you can find me on TikTok at Gabby. Fingers crossed, hopefully I will be making more content soon. Work has been a little insane, but that should be coming down in the next few weeks. So I should be able to start making content again. Please be there. I would love to see you guys all there. And then other than that, we should be starting back up with the Queer Questers. We are changing our date soon, but keep in contact with Gabby. So Gabby on TikTok for more updates. But we're all queer, we're all adventuring, and we are all so sad sometimes, but also so fun sometimes. We're going through some drama. So come with us at twitch.tv/thequeerquesters. We also have a TikTok there, and you can find me there as well.
You just described who I am as a person. Gay and sad.
Elizabeth Flynn.
Yes.
Relatable.
Yes.
Took.
Oh boy, look at that. Hello, hi, I am Took. I guess you can catch me. I'm doing so much. So I'm only gonna announce two things. You can catch me on Twitch mostly, and also on TikTok if you like a lot of cosplay stuff. A warning, I've been doing a lot of thirst traps, so just be wary of that. Look, it's thirst December, okay? But nonetheless, I am in a lot of actual play podcasts. One of the which is a brand new one. Is being ran with the 7th Sea system. If you like gay pirates and just pirates in general, come by and watch that on Squirrels of Darkness. I will be playing in the Blaze of Roses. I am Juniper Gagnon, you know, that with French accent or whatever or not. He's pretty cool. He is a dope blood mage, so come by, watch, say hello. And also I am running a VTM actual play podcast that is on my channel, Took, I guess, every other Monday. Is at 5 p.m. CST. It is really dope. Hope you guys enjoy.
Awesome. Cut.
Hello, I am Kurt Stradiger, also known as Mr. Kurtwise on most places on the internet. My life has also been uplifted recently, but as things start to get back to normal, I'm starting to make content on TikTok again, where you can find my main gig, and also check out the 5% Chance Twitch channel, where I run the Diceberg game. That is still on hiatus, but we are normally every other Tuesday when we get back up and running. And in the meantime, there's a bunch of other cool games that you can check out there as well.
Awesome. Robin, you don't have to spell it out. It's all written there.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay, that's your
You-
choice.
You can find me on the internet at Call Me Caulfield. That's CALLMECAULFIELD. I'm on there on Twitch. I'm on there on Twitter. Those are really the only two places I'm ever active in. I don't even really stream that much right now because my schedule won't really allow it. But I play video games on there sometimes. But my big thing is we're really, really close. I design a tabletop game. I do that. I design games. So I have a sports anime TTRPG called Play Ball coming out soon-ish. Later this year-ish. Maybe. Who knows? It's coming very, 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 very soon. We just got the character sheet the other day. I tweeted about that. We got the cover art done. All the internal art is done. All I have to do is, get off my butt and actually finish the editing, and then talk to Sarah about some layout, because you'll get to see some of Sarah's work in Play Ball for the layout, which is super cool. That's going to come later this year. You don't have to like sports, you don't have to like anime, you don't have to like TTRPGs. You only really have to like one of those three things, or playing games with your friends. And you'll have a great time as the one-shots that we ran during my failed Kickstarter show on my YouTube. Also, I have a pirate podcast using the Thirsty Sword Lesbians system. We haven't started recording anything yet, but that is something official in the works. It'll be called Low Tides. And it's going to be incredible. I'm very excited. I can't wait to tell everybody who's going to be in it. It's going to be a bunch of people who I get to play TTRPGs with for the first time, and then one person for the second time. Someone took knows, and also Sarah and Jess also know this person. That might give away who it is. Yeah. But it's going to be awesome. No, it's not me. I'm running the show.
I know. I was trying to be fun.
But those are going to be great. I've got a bunch of other stuff in the works, including other TTRPGs like the Rat King's Court, which is like a critter-based, like woodland creature type, like King Arthur meets a Jane Austen novel type TTRPG, I guess. There's a mechanic that's called cheese counters. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
He's gonna love that.
Yeah. It's in the works. That's coming after Play Ball, so keep an eye out. Also, you can hire me for things like this show that I was on, to run games for you. Much like Sarah, I do that professionally for money. Yeah, that's it. I went on too long.
It's okay. You're a busy person. You got stuff to say.
For sure.
It's true. And I think with that, we might call it to a close. Sarah has to run off and do games. People have places. Yeah. There's trolls in the chat right now. We need to get rid of them. But honestly, thank you so much. This was such an amazing campaign. It was such a delight to watch, and thank you all so much for being part of it. So I'll end it by saying, with my empty glass, cheers to all the flying Flynn Pirates.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I have too much beer. I'm not finishing that.